fence line, you might want to,
Absolutely.
spray that.
76 degrees in Victoria right now, heading to a high of 94. Going to be under sunny skies. It'll be just a hot summer day.
Which is good because it's only taken us almost all of July to get to summer.
Right? Love is in the air.
Love is in the air. I don't know how that song came into our heads this morning.
Everywhere I look around.
Terrible song.
Love is in the air.
I seem to remember it always being a song that was
performed on the
Love Boat all the time. Yeah.
What are you guys
trying to get to her?
Somebody, I want to see the uniforms.
Oh, that's Seattle Kraken.
Oh, hockey.
Yeah.
The Seattle Mariners, a couple of quick stats for you. Those of you that care at all about baseball, those of you that don't, please feel free to go to 104 for a second and say hi to what's going on. They come right back. Dusty Baker yesterday coached his 162nd regular season game as an Astros skipper. That equates to one full season of regular season play. 91 and 71, 20 games above 500. I think it's a very fine winning percentage. I'd rather see it at like 97, and he dropped 5 or 6 games that AJ Hinch would not have dropped.
90. Well, I mean, they were what? They weren't even 500 last year, right?
Yeah. So
right around there.
Overall, he's had a great run. Yeah. Astros win last night. I didn't see the score.
I quit watching. I think it was 7-2. I'm not sure what the final. I think it ended up like 8-5 or something like that. Let me look and see.
Astros win last night, and that makes them 100 wins against 61 losses all time against Seattle. No team.
Jordan crushed a 3-run ball.
No team has a bigger win percentage against any other team than that. Did I say that right?
Yeah, I think
the Astros dominate Seattle more than anybody dominates anybody. What did
Landy Rankston? Hate to spam me, guys, but got a bolo on some thieves in the area. I'm thinking I'm thinking I'm not sure about that one.
This is Randy Langston. Okay, let's see what it says. Let's just see what it says. I trust you,
Randy. No, it's Landy Rankston.
Yeah, but see, it says this is Randy Langston, obviously. What's he trying to tell us?
So there's some thieves in the area.
All right. What they
car thieves? I don't know. They look like they were prowling.
White dude with some tats. Be on the lookout for a white dude with some tats.
Interesting.
I'm profiling. Yeah. I'm racist.
You are.
He's racist, that Carter. He's racist. I tell you what.
Astros also made a trade yesterday.
I look at that big grape in this shirt. This is region right here.
Yeah.
I think this might be one of Dawn's shirts.
Might be.
I don't know.
You've got her.
I've got her boobs.
No.
Go ahead and say it.
No.
Good morning, Sheriff Louderback. Good to see you. Robin Moore-Knibling.
Diane Tippison, Lisa Poole. Good morning, Clint Ives.
I saw Clint Ives yesterday. Clint and Kevin Yannick were going and visiting with our what would you call it? His
constituents?
No, he was visiting with Steve Klein, but he's our evaporated guest. We were going to have Steve Klein on this morning to talk development, to talk affordable housing, to talk about Victoria being open for business. I saw a Facebook
Where have I heard that before?
Yeah, I think I used to say that. I was going to try to get credit and see if I could get some royalties off of that.
I've heard that somewhere.
Mr. Klein is so interesting and so smart. He's been doing this, I got to figure like 30, 35 years, maybe longer in Victoria, developing homes. He's put a ton of property on the Victoria tax rolls and builds. He built our house. I love our house. I think he builds a great house. There's Judge Posey, Scott Snow, Justin Glass. What else you got? You want to get some of your roll call in?
Yeah, Judge Posey's in. You mentioned him. Let's see who else. Arena Scherer. Good morning. I saw Arena at the Generals game
Hello,
last night.
Rita.
Her and Calvin's fresh off the cruise ship. I
I
wonder
didn't-
how many times they heard that song.
I want
Love is
to
in the air.
debrief with them. Oh, I'm sure every night at like couples dance, everybody dance.
I said it was nice because the cruise was operating about 70% capacity, and there were, I don't think kids were under the age of 12 were allowed, so there were no kids. They said it was one of the more enjoyable.
What's great is
cruises
there's
they've
no
had.
way to do a 70% buffet.
No,
So you still got 100% buffet, but only 70% of the people.
well, you scale back your amount that you cook, but you're still got the full offering.
That's all I
Yeah.
do.
know.
I would just be
Never been on a
ship
cruise
just
yet.
eating.
Have you ever been on a cruise?
Just once. It was
I've never
terrible.
been on one.
all I would do is eat.
So how's that any different from now?
Well, I'm just saying it'd be just like being at home, but I'd be on the water. Yeah, I see how that's going.
Bobby Leister, good morning to you on a Scaldo Wednesday. Chris Jansen checking in. Ryan Hopping, good morning.
Dawn is kind of like my assisted living. She's my wife, right? But it's more like assisted living. So I was visiting with Cody Chandler the other day, and he talked about sometimes I just have to go to Wiener Schnitzel and get a chili cheese dog. And I said, my problem is something that they do, I don't know if they put the buns in a steamer or whatever, but the bread is so good that, you can eat that chili cheese dog in like 3 bites. And I said, I could have like 6 of them, no problem. And Dawn just casually, as she walked by, goes, you know what that would do to your stomach? And I'm just like, I said, make it big. No, you just poop a lot.
You don't care, do you?
No, but I'm just like, wow. I mean, it's like, she's like a nurse, kind of. I'm going to see if I can get her to start wearing scrubs around the house. That'd be nice.
Andy Rhea Jr., Stephen Kidder, good morning. Patrick Strauss is in. Egan Barthels, good morning, Egan. It's been a while. Chris Conrad checking in. Karen Webb, good morning. Junior Samples.
Where did it say Egan Barthels?
Right there. Can't read.
No, I would have said like Bartles and James or something. I never get these names. He's Canadian, Egan?
No, he's what is he? Lavaca County Emergency Management Coordinator Director. He's big wig up there. Michelle Torres, good morning. Christina
She
Wise
says
is in.
Deerland Feed does have everything
Yes.
you need.
Yes, they do. We know that. Marvin Mickish, good morning. BJ Nelson.
No, let's
Your
see
Aunt
what BJ
Betty's
said.
in?
Hi, Aunt Betty.
And
I think Aunt Betty's-
Leslie. Who's Leslie?
That's my cousin. That's
Okay.
Aunt Betty's daughter. I think she's coming to see us. Let's see here. It says it's a new day. What did BJ say?
VISD heading in the right direction. I challenge the community to show up to the next meeting. Let's have too many show up. They have to move it to a larger venue.
There you go.
I ran into Quentin Shepard yesterday, and it was interesting. He was telling me that, the community has told them they don't want a new Strom and they don't want a new Mission Valley, so we'll see where they go.
I knew that Mission Valley did not want a new Mission Valley. I found that interesting. They're like, we like our little old school. I think what they're afraid of or concerned about is that it becomes like industrial north.
But they're kind of heading there now in a way, right? They're starting to bust at the seams. And I hate to say, it's not going to be I told you so, but I think where they're heading is in 2 years, they're going to have buyer's remorse when they don't have a bond that helps them build a school that can increase their capacity because they're going to have increased capacity.
Right. I'm with you. They're full now.
Yeah.
I think they're saying bust those kids to Chandler.
Somewhere else, yeah.
Get the Chandler kids back down where they belong. Yeah.
Tom Price, good morning.
Chandler. I didn't mean that to Miss Chandler.
No.
It must have been Shalmer.
Chris Cox, John Davis, James Kurth, good morning. Mike Bloschke's in.
Hello,
There's
Michael.
Don Nicole, Jim Simpson. The Iceman is in. Good crowd this morning.
T-Lat says she's getting me healthy.
So Astros making a trade. They get Kendall Graveman,
Don't know him.
right-hander. I think
He's going to be a reliever. He's
yeah,
not
I
going to be a
think-
starter. This is bullpen prop up.
yeah, I
Good
think
morning, Simpson.
They also got, I think, Tyler Anderson. The Mariners did from Tyler Anderson, I think, from Pirates. But Going to Seattle, Joe Smith, who I thought has been pretty serviceable,
He has
and Abraham Toro.
been
And
good.
I've liked Toro. I thought this year especially, I thought he was a better injury replacement for Bregman.
But he's not better than Aledmus Diaz. And now that Diaz is back and it's getting close to playoff time, playoffs, you got to make a move. That we needed some bullpen, and you're not going to give up Diaz.
No.
Diaz is on par with Marwin Gonzalez.
Not quite there yet.
Right. I agree, but when you go Gonzalez, Diaz, Toro. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I could do that.
I like
What's interesting with that trade is they didn't have to get on a plane and fly anywhere. They just cleaned out their locker and went to the other clubhouse at Safeco Field in Seattle.
That's got to be an eerie feeling. I mean, it really has to be an
I would
eerie
think,
feeling.
yeah, because you played with them the night before.
Yeah, you fly to Seattle. You're with the Astros. They're your guys. They're the system you came up through, and they trade you and say, when you have an off day, come to Houston and clean out your apartment. I mean, I guess he would just stay in the same hotel. This is all trivia, but logistically, would he just stay in the same hotel where the Mariners just put him up at
Probably
that Hyatt
at that
or
point,
whatever?
yeah, till he can get settled. But
Wow.
yeah,
He makes him a better ball club. He's a good player.
yeah. Bregman's a setup man, so that'll help Presley out as he's become their closer.
The Iceman says that Randall Cobb is back in Green Bay. Funny, the other day I read that was one of Aaron Rodgers' conditions to come back was that the Packers got Randall Cobb back. So that's good. Good for him.
Trying to see the numbers on Graveman 4-0, 30 games, 0.82 ERA, but a setup guy. He's probably pitching one inning and maybe sneaking into two.
Patrick Strauss adds that Marwin Gonzalez is having a horrible year. I think people are underestimating the Astros factor, the fun, the enthusiasm of playing baseball before the Houston crowd. Garrett Cole is not exactly setting the world on fire in New York.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
I'd like to have him back.
But George Springer hasn't done anything in Toronto. He's been hurt most of it.
He made a great play in center field the other night.
Apparently that trade, though, kind of disrupted Seattle. Seattle not happy to lose Graveman. He was popular amongst the players.
There you go. That's the guy we'd like to have.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, that kind of tells you something there. I'm trying to see Toro's
stat line.
Yeah, Toro 24 struggled a little bit.
24 years old. Oh, to be 24 again.
Yeah.
I remember when I woke up one morning and said, "You're too old. You'll never be an astronaut." That bothered me.
So,
didn't you want to be an astronaut when you were a kid, or for in your case, a cosmonaut?
Yes, cosmonaut. Wanted to fly on Sputnik.
Yeah. You can still go with Bezos.
I could, but I'm not an 82-year-old former astronaut named Wally Funk.
You get right there in the tip, right?
I don't think I want to get there.
They're adding a new option to that thing that when you go and you go around, when you come back and land, then there's going to be like a little trap door and they're just going to shoot you right at the end of it.
Ejector seat, yeah.
Little astronauts just fly out.
Jeff Fonseca says one-way ticket to Seattle. I'm wondering if that trade was so far along that maybe did the Astros just book one-way tickets?
Yeah,
for Smith and Toro.
That's terrible. Everybody gets their packet and your per diem, and there's 2 tickets in there for everybody.
Yeah,
here you go.
No return tickets for.
That's so funny.
Oh man.
Oh goodness.
What else is happening? Apparently, I don't know what to make of this, but apparently for the first time in a while, landline service has been reestablished between North and South Korea.
Really?
Yeah.
Did we decide that, what's his name, the little guy?
Kim Jong-un.
Is he alive or dead?
He's alive.
Okay.
still crazy and still wouldn't trust him.
We didn't know if he was alive or dead, though, right? Not that long ago.
Yeah.
Hadn't it been rumored that he was dead?
Oh yeah, or on life support or gonna. It's North
But
Korea.
he's alive and well.
You never know.
Tennessee.
Weissman says the old string and cup.
All
Yeah,
his
it's two tin cans and a string. That's
all
what they,
his exes live in Texas.
Kim Jong Un went to the border and said, "Here, catch," and threw the other can.
Threw it over the wall.
Yeah. But don't tick me off, or I'll pull that can back, and you won't be able to talk to us again for another year.
It's crazy. That whole deal.
Yeah, isn't it though?
Jeff Fonseca. This segment brought to you by Trojan.
No, but it is brought to you by Allen's Record Service.
578-6300. Allen's your go-to. Reach out to Allen's Record Service. Razor IT
Hear that, Steve
Solutions.
Klein? Give him a call. 578
Yeah, Klein said
6300.
the wheels on his helicopter were flat this morning. He couldn't get here. White Trash Services, 550-1826. Reach out to BJ Nelson and her team. I saw Carl yesterday. Great guy. They're just like every other small business, juggling personnel, juggling trucks that won't
Was he a
run.
doorman?
He's whatever it takes. Carl the doorman. They do wear a lot of hats out there.
Yeah.
On his door, it says Carl Steffens. Nobody knows what he does, but we know we're in trouble without him. Something along the, I paraphrase, but that's what it says. Let's see what Steve Kidder says.
Says you keep coming up with new ways to destroy me. Yesterday it was a car bomb. Today you're just shooting me out of a rocket.
Right. No kidding. Steve Kidder, if I did that, you would know how to properly have recourse. If you have a situation, you want to do an adoption, you want to dissolve a partnership, create a partnership, a trust, probate work, simple civil matters or complex criminal matters, call the law offices of Steve Kidder. If Stephen isn't ideal for that particular task, he'll help you find the right person. And he's a very thoughtful young man and a very, very fine attorney and friend. Razor IT Solutions, JP Hull will help you with your analytics, with your data, encryption, keeping hackers out of your website.
All the back end stuff that you know nothing about, but is vital to making sure that your website works and looks good. That's what JP holds.
And when I go visit with JP, I do go and try to understand more. But Ash, honestly, it's like every time he peels back one layer, I realize there's just so much to it. Like the idea that there's like a dark web. Yeah, there is. It's really there. You have to go learn this stuff. And I learned how little I really know.
Yeah. You don't want to go to the dark web.
No.
And Complete 360, Complete 360 and the Health Bar right here on Red River. The Health Bar now open. You can go grab breakfast if you'd like, a healthy breakfast alternative.
Yeah,
they've got it there, and then they've got all your supplements, smoothies, snacks, anything you need
wraps,
to help.
Healthy chips.
Yeah.
They can make cardboard taste so good now. And you get your fiber. New sour cream and onion cellulose chips. Made out of old reclaimed roofing insulation.
Tires.
Right. And if you can find a way to make a buck off a tire, you can make a lot of bucks because they're everywhere.
They used to retread them.
Yeah,
nobody does that
trucks.
Anymore,
they still do that on big tire
trucks. And I think
cap them, they call it.
Yeah, there's a technology that needs to improve because I'm pretty sure those are the tires that shred all over the highways.
Yeah.
It ain't a brand new one.
The Gators. Why couldn't you? BJ Nelson said that's really over our heads anyway. True story. Whatever you were talking about, that is true. I would think you could take a tire, except that they have steel belts in them, and it's very prohibitive to get that out.
Yeah, they're not bias ply anymore.
You could grind it up and make it an additive to asphalt, and rubber on rubber would stick really well, and it would be easier on the tires, but it just doesn't seem plausible to do so.
Let's see. I'm rubber, you're rubber. No, I'm rubber, you're glue. That
right.
The rubber on rubber ain't going to work.
It sticks on you.
Yeah. You know, I'm just using kid logic, but I don't see how that works.
Right.
I don't see how rubber on rubber works.
It might not work.
U.S. women's gymnastic team, second place in the in the team competition.
But
Simone Biles had a
without drama.
bad day and just wasn't mentally there. Initially, the reports yesterday morning when we reported them, we were told she was injured. You could kind of get a sense that she wasn't quite there in the floor routine when she stepped out, when she was out of the mat, and then
coddled prima donnas
pulled up on a vault instead of doing it. She did like half the move and just pulled herself, just decided that wasn't it, and says she's just not mentally where she needs to be. I think there's more to it here. I think this is a case of someone who had done really well for 2 Olympics, right?
2 of them already?
Yeah, this was their 3rd.
I did not know that. Was she like 47?
Yeah. No, that's the one from Romania, I think.
Wow. Nadia Comaneci with a 8.
5 world championships, I think, in the span as well for Simone Biles. But I think what happened is there was just so much pressure on her, either internally from USA Gymnastics, externally from others who were riding on her coattails a little bit.
Right.
And I don't think her heart was in it. I don't think she wanted to be in Tokyo. If the games had gone on in 2020 without a COVID interruption, then maybe she might have done it. But I think she's just to a point where she didn't want to do it and felt that she could not tell people no, getting so much pressure. And then in the middle of it, it was just she wasn't there and didn't want to risk injury.
I mean, bam, that right there, folks, that's the insight you get from Ash Wade, the gymnastics whisperer. Can you imagine what he could do? Well, Frederic and Jan, neither one really were feeling the stone today. They didn't really want to roll it out there on the curling rink. But I toughened them up. I told them they had to do it for the Jags. And Jaguar Curling wins the state championship again. Playing all the D1 schools. We're D1 in curling. Why not?
Be the only one.
I love it. Get it down here. Let's make it happen. Good morning, Matt Boucher. Hope you're doing well.
Christina Wise says she's the one gymnast left over from the sexual abuse. I don't know. I don't think she was.
Yeah,
I don't think she was abused, though. Was she? I don't recall seeing anything, or maybe, really,
I don't think so.
But there's more here than what meets the eye.
Whatever happened to you train for 4 years, it's really all about you. This is your moment to shine.
That's my point. I don't think she didn't want it anymore. That's my gut telling me. She didn't want this anymore. Everybody else wanted it because they have something to gain from it.
She's already rich.
She doesn't. She had nothing more to gain. And that's, I think, where she was. And finally, she had the guts and the backbone to stand up and say, I'm done. Maybe she hasn't quite told them all back the off.
Right.
And
Is
leave
she
me
gonna
alone.
participate at all anymore? Or is she
No,
out?
she's out.
She's out.
Yeah. She's pulled herself, I think, from all the individual
Leaving
events as well.
Tokyo.
So, she's not the only one. I heard there was like some Nigerian athlete that left and then got arrested when he got back home. Didn't want to be there anymore.
Wow. See, there you have it. There you have it. Okay. A Nigerian athlete quits on his team, gets arrested when he gets home. Simone quits on her team. She'll immediately be granted victim status and be able to write a book and go on Oprah and talk about the unbelievable pressure of competing for her country.
Yeah, and
there's a difference in the U.S. and other countries.
And there's, I can see that side of it as well. There are some already saying, well, she's they're already making excuses for her. But at the same time, I can sit there and go, okay, you're an elite athlete. This is what you do. This is your time to shine.
Have your meltdown after you perform.
Or a year ago.
Yeah, right. You took the space of someone who could have gone to their first.
Yeah, and that's what Christina Wise's point. What about the spot for someone who didn't want it? The thing is, does she take a spot as somebody?
You didn't know that Christina's my personal producer. Yeah. I got that straight from her before.
Yeah. Does somebody that fills that spot get the U.S. to a silver medal, even with a very subpar, Simone Biles'
Right.
performance in Tokyo. Does the U.S. even get a silver medal? Are they even on the podium?
I don't know. And then at the end of the day, does it really matter? Is anybody?
But is anybody okay?
Nobody's watching. Is it still the Olympics?
That's true. Yeah.
If nobody's there, would you trade the Olympics today for everybody to be able to go back out and regather in groups of more than 4, more than 6 feet apart? Yeah.
Are you giving your heart surgeon a pass if he just walks away in the middle of your open heart
I just
surgery?
don't feel it
anymore. I'm done. Can't do it.
I don't want to hurt your feelings.
Thank God. So
I wouldn't give you the satisfaction. I continue to toil in these unfair and unfortunate circumstances.
And James Kerr says, she's already got a book and helps many people. If you're not 100% mentally prepared, you can get seriously injured. Yeah, you can, especially in that.
Point.
I mean, imagine heading down for that to the vault with doubt in your mind, right?
And that's part of what there are alternates.
Yeah. So James Kerr says you can't compare a surgeon to a gymnast.
It depends on how tall he is. It depends on how tall he is, or how big his quads are.
But in this case, I think you can make comparables. She's the best at what she does, maybe ever.
Yeah, she's better than
and walked away in the middle of it.
What's her name?
Nadia Comaneci.
No,
Mary Lou Retton.
Yeah, with all the teeth.
Yeah, she competed against an entire world as opposed to, that's the one thing. And don't, Mary Lou Retton was good, but didn't compete against half the world.
Right. Oh, here we have a caller. Huh? Thank goodness. We were dying.
No, we weren't.
We're dying.
Good morning.
It's going to be James Kurth. See, I knew it was going to be. I knew it would be James Kurth. He just, I don't know.
How are you, James?
James, have you had that restriction removed where you can be within 400 feet of a Chuck E. Cheese or a junior high? Yeah. Okay.
No, I didn't.
Are you still driving the black van that says free candy on the back? Nice. Nice. No, we're not disparaging Simone. She was obviously a great American. She's been a great ambassador for our nation. I'll admit that I had such respect for her skills and her tenacity that I was just really surprised to see this out of her, is my thought.
Yeah, no, she really is. And don't forget, they changed things up. I think you can only be 60. You have to be 16 to compete in the Olympics in gymnastics.
So how old is she? Like 25?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing. It is one of those sports that just pounds your body.
You weren't exactly meant to do it.
Yeah.
So if you get a 30-year-old gymnast to marry a 30-year-old rodeo cowboy, they can have kids that are just born in wheelchairs. Because, I mean, that's just what's happened.
That's pretty much it.
That's right.
Exactly.
It's like the boneless chicken ranch where the chickens just lay out in the field.
We appreciate the call. Thanks, James.
Thanks, James. Unbelievable. The VCS companies, folks, I spoke with Jim Hartman yesterday. He said, tell your listeners that we said hi. For all your surveillance, security, and surround sound issues, anything to do with communication, anything to do with me talking to you or you hearing us or music or anything, reach out to the VCS company. Sit in a new recliner from Chesty Furniture. 70 years at their current location, 116 West Juan Lynn, corner of Juan Lynn and Bridge. where you just do better at Chestnut and Love.
Make your house a home.
Amen. Also, Veracruz today is called a Wednesday.
It's called a Wednesday today. Get there today to get the call.
It is the day. This is the day. This is the day that the call goes made. Anyway, get there, folks. I would get there at 11:45. Do not wait until noon to get there because everybody's there. Craig Logger's going to be there taking up space. He's a big guy. Get in there early and get you a bowl of call dough. You'll be glad you did. And then, of course, over the weekend, you see this trend towards sunny skies. Reach out to AJ's Detailing. Find him on Facebook. I can't sell it over the radio. It's a visual. It's the craziest transition of your paint to what your paint was supposed to look like that you'll ever see. AJ's Detailing. Go look at it on Facebook after the show.
I need to give him a call later.
You do need to give him a call. His number is on his Facebook page, and you can reach out to AJ. Great.
I had one of our listeners reach out to me yesterday regarding AJ's Detailing.
I thought maybe he reached out and said, gosh, please wash your truck.
Truck's all right. Inside's not so hot.
People write, why not, on the part where they used to write, wash me. It's already been like,
That's etched in the glass now. It's been there so long.
People use one of those diamond cutters. Wash me.
Cut through the dirt.
Crazy.
And the grime.
So let's roll. What do we got? What does Robin Moore Knibbley say? She's always
Simone left an overall USA Olympic team, including members who choose not to pledge allegiance to her country. There's far more dysfunction out there than her making her exit choice for whatever reason.
I agree.
But you know what? That's somewhat the mistaken optics of it. USA Gymnastics goes over there and they're in their own little bubble. And not just because of COVID in Tokyo. This is every Olympics. The men's basketball team is in their own little deal. The women's tennis team is over here. They represent the country, but it's not like they're all on one team having massive team get-togethers. And
that's only at the Trojan Free Love Gym.
Yes.
Remember that Olympics a couple of years ago that was like sponsored by
it was in Sochi, I think. Wasn't it the
craziness?
Yeah. But
everybody got a goodie bag.
The only time that they're all ever together is when they walk in the opening ceremonies, and the ones that are left march through in the closing ceremony.
They're spread out all over town.
And the events run at different times, so some still, some may not get there till closer to their event. But to think it's like a football team and they're all running out in the tunnel and onto the practice field every day together. That's just not the reality of what happens with the Olympics.
What team is IRI? Like it says USA versus IRI. It's not Israel. It's ISR.
Yeah, I don't know. That one I don't know.
IRI. Iridium. The U.S. beat Iridium yesterday like 120-61.
Yeah, that one I don't know.
It's the Hall of Famer, Ralph Salazar.
Speaking of which, you're not going to hear this story. And I cut bits and pieces of it, so I don't have names. I don't have all the details. James Kurth probably knows more about this one just because.
That's scary.
Yeah. And I think it was judo. There was a Mongolian that won the judo gold yesterday or the other day, and was originally represented Iran on the world stage.
Defected.
But here's why. The Iranian government pressured him to throw a semifinal match at a previous world championship because if he would have won, he would have faced an Israeli jiu-jitsu. Is that the right word?
I think so. It sounds good.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? He would have faced an Israeli opponent in the finals.
They are so anti-Semitic, they didn't even want to fight the guy.
He defected 2 years ago to Mongolia, became a Mongolian citizen, now represents Mongolia, probably wins the only medal Mongolia is going to win at the Olympics, right? Maybe ever.
Yak race.
Except when Genghis Khan was running, was dominating the Olympics. So in his acceptance speech, he tells a story. Him and this Israeli have become good friends. And he dedicates the medal to Israel.
Yeah.
This is Iran just going nuts.
That's awesome.
And then he speaks Yiddish and says, thank you. to finish off his little media time.
Good for
I mean,
him.
this is when the Olympics does good things, and this is going to be hidden by the media,
the media doesn't care about
because
that.
they don't care about that.
Yeah,
This is not getting much play anywhere, and it should be getting a whole bunch of play, because this is kind of the ideal and the spirit of the Olympics,
yes,
transcending everything, and it's getting nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
10,000 people listening here on Wayne Carter. Now you tell 2 people, and then if they tell 2 people, that's 100,000 people.
Yeah. But it just shows you the ideologies and the hatred.
And by the way, it shows you that
can be transcended.
Other countries and other athletes and other people, I had a guy say the other day with the breakup of the Big 12 and Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC, they were talking about the Pac-12. And this guy just said, just so matter-of-factly, there's no way that TCU or Baylor are going to go to the Pac-12. And I was like, why not? I mean, Baylor just won a national championship in basketball, and the Pac-12 is a pretty good basketball league. And they said, because they're Christian schools. There's no way Californians are going to welcome Christian schools into their conference. I hadn't thought of it that way, but you know what? Write it down. Baylor and TCU will not be in the Pac-12.
Well, we can get to that.
I think that's incredible. But other countries, people are willing to put – that guy basically put his life on the line to honor Israel because he's refusing to give in and cave into anti-Semitism. And yet here in the U.S., we do everything we can to keep God out of everything, unless the Democrats are praying about impeaching somebody.
Yeah. Is there anything more hypocritical than NBC, who for the last 3.5 years, four and a half years now, have made an absolute living trying to point out every bad thing in this country?
Yep.
MSNBC and CNBC and Chris Matthews and all those idiots over there.
Anti-America. They've made a living being anti-America.
Absolutely. They can't move fast enough to tell you how bad this country is, how racist, how terrible it is, yet they're full of American pride for 3 weeks during their Olympic broadcasts.
To pay the bills.
It's part of the reason why I haven't watched it at all is that hypocrisy of NBC. They can't stand this country for 50 weeks a year.
Yeah.
248 weeks a year, or for the last 4 years. And then for 2 weeks in July in Tokyo, they want to paint America as the greatest, and we've got national pride, and we're proud of America. Give me a break, NBC. Give me a break, NBC.
And I knew you were going with that 248 weeks, 250. That'd be like 5 years. Massimino's Caramel 1,
something like that. I was trying to get there.
No, you're good at that, though. Dawn's the one, like, if something costs $399.99, she'll say, yeah, it's like $300. If it's something she wants, it's like $300. But if I go buy something that's like $25, you pay $30 for that? $30. Well, you got taxes. She buys one of those eyebrow pencils. They last for months.
If it's $299, you'll say it's $300.
Right.
She'll say it's $200.
$200.
And you know what's interesting? There was a study.
Ish. She says ish.
Yeah. There was a study years ago that actually that's something that you can almost divide that on the gender line. Females will take that and go way down with it. I mean, there's something psychological about the 99, right? When shopping, retailers have known that forever.
Sure.
If it's $299, it's not $300.
Right.
But other studies have shown that women will take that $299 and call it $200 when trying to justify the expense, and guys will say, "Well, that's $300."
Now I'm going to flip that on you and tell you that as time evolves, the breadwinner calls it $300, the shopper calls it $200. And in some days that could be the man, just that. Like if Steve Kidder were a woman, and if he were married, his husband might say that's only $200.
Jack Smith says President Trump said it best: regardless of how you feel today and always, be proud to be an American. We live in the greatest country in the world. We absolutely,
correct.
Absolutely, Zach.
Zach
And-
Smith, America's cheerleader, checks in.
Trey Molina says Big 12 loses 2 teams. Who would you replace them with? Let's take our break and then let's get into that, because I don't think the Big 12 exists on the back end of Texas and OU leaving that conference.
Right. Reach out to Terry Murray at Motto Mortgage, 541-5454. The good news is your house will exist. Your existence will be the same. Your payment will just be less. She will lower the interest function of your mortgage. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, she's good. She will walk you through all the steps.
T-Lat called me out on that breadwinner thing. That's nice. Oh, goodness. Thank you, T-Lat.
Iceman says it's tortilla winner.
By the way, T-Lat's already at work. Good for her.
Someone's got to be the breadwinner.
Thank you. You don't get this for free. I got to work. All right. So
a T-shirt, you probably got it for free.
I think it's Dawn's. It doesn't fit. Wind services, wind electric generators, wind solar panels. I'm a plum. Solar panels, plumbing, electrical, wind. You know, wind does it all.
Wind does it all, and they can do it for you. They've done it for me. I absolutely love the work they did and the recommendations they made to make my life at the 2-4 a whole lot easier.
Oh, goodness. USA Concrete Coatings 578 Home, HOME. Charlie Garcia will come out, put down a tough as nails polyurethane coating on your garage floor.
Check out his Facebook page, because that will really show you what they can take a boring, ugly, stained concrete surface and just turn it into something brand new.
Seems like your concrete floor kind of absorbs light. You put down this light like a tan polyurethane coat. Seems like the whole room is brighter. It's very nice. And then, of course, the Great Barn. Reach out to Cheryl for your next party. Make it memorable. 920-6803.
I saw a graphic.
920-6803.
To get to the Big 12, and as we astutely pointed out by some who were able, and I can't remember the source, this all became a battle over second and third tier media rights. Texas and OU didn't want to give them up anymore because they saw the revenue, or at least extend the rights under the current deal for beyond 2025.
And what are we talking about there? Softball, volleyball, baseball. By the way, places that Texas and OU dominate the Big 12.
Probably some other programming related to other sports.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of money to be made on those properties.
Absolutely.
And Texas and OU didn't want to lock themselves into the into the media rights deal with the conference to extend those out. I think Texas even probably more troubling so because they have their own network.
Right. Well, they look at it this way. They were very competitive in softball. They go to the Final Four of the College World Series in baseball. They go to the final match in women's volleyball. They dominate swimming again. They're always pertinent in track. They're like, people watch these things. Why are we giving that money to Iowa State? Tell Iowa State to get their own track athletes.
Patrick Stroh says that you're saying greed does it again. I wouldn't say it's greed.
I think it's pure capitalism. Greed is good.
It's capitalism, but I think it's also self-preservation in a way that, we need these resources to help fund our programs.
In the Big 12, Texas is like the United States. And Iowa State is like Uganda. So why? Let's quit shipping all of our aid overseas just to have somebody to beat up on, except in football where Iowa State beats us.
But I saw a graphic where the Power 5 conferences become 4 conferences. TCU, Texas Tech, Baylor slide over to the Pac-12 to become the Pac-16. BYU joins that conference because it's going to be hard to be an independent as they are now.
You can have a couple of church schools in there if you throw the Mormon cult in there with them. Okay, that'll work.
Well, they've already, but
you got to have the cult to make it work.
Notre Dame, I think, under this scenario, ends up joining the Big Ten, along with, I think, Nebraska. Well, no, Nebraska's already there. A few of the other schools, Iowa State, and I can't remember, but it basically aligns into
Kansas, K-State.
4 16-team conferences. The ACC, we all know how the SEC falls out, but the ACC
just goes away.
No, the ACC exists. you end up with the Big 16, the SEC, the Pac-16, and the ACC. So that gets rid of the Big 12.
Yeah,
The Big 12 is gone. So you're down to 4 conferences of 16 teams, and that's the future of college football or college athletics. And interestingly enough, if anybody who's actually tuned into this show, I think we've talked about this when I've come back from conferences and conventions that I've been to, that this could be the path going forward for NCAA Division I.
And it's such a natural for your playoffs. You've got 64 teams. You can play bowl games. Brent Anderson points out 13 NCAA National Swimming Championships for Texas. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
What did John Paul Hull say?
He says losers talk about winning softball games, winners talk about football.
Right. Hey, congratulations on finishing 4th in the country. Good luck with Alabama.
USA softball, silver, right?
Lost second place, just the first loser there, Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby.
Unbelievable.
Is it Thursday already?
No, it's Wednesday. Called it Wednesday.
I'm just listening.
You know that the Aggies have made great strides, and they really have. They've spent a ton of money, billions, over $1 billion, upgrading all their facilities, and they really embraced the SEC head on. And the revenue from the SEC has really benefited the Aggies. And that, really, they have a premier coach. They've got a beautiful stadium, and they've got the right attitude. I still can't get them past Alabama, or if Alabama stoops, then either LSU, Auburn, Georgia, one of those teams is going to pick up the mantle and pound the Aggies. So the Aggies, at best, one day will play in an SEC championship game, which they've yet to make. If they ever make it to the SEC championship, they will be dismissed. That's the way it's going to be. What did it say? Whatever happened to
your narrative that A&M would always be 4th in the SEC West?
They've done fairly well. I mean, they moved up to 4th in the country. I can't dispute that they've done well, but they're.
But let's be honest. Until Jimbo Fisher, they might not have been where they are.
No. But here's the deal. What I like about them is
they were going the other way under Kevin Sumlin.
They won't be satisfied with 4th. They want to win the SEC, but the gap between Alabama and A&M is so real and so large that Nick Saban could rest his starters and beat the Aggies.
Well, and most years, and I'm objective here. Most years that gap also has LSU,
Florida,
and Georgia, and Auburn sometimes.
Now you can't play Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Missouri. You can't play those teams every week. At some point, you got to play the Big Five. And the other side, here's my statement. I made this statement in 2012 when the Aggies left, and I stand by it. Texas, it may be much more difficult now because the road used to be so easy. That's what made this make sense. If Texas could have beaten Oklahoma, then they're in the playoff, okay? But I'll still stand by this comment. Texas will play for and win another national championship before the Aggies win the SEC outright in football. I do believe that. I believe Texas will not only win the SEC, they will go on to win a national championship before the Aggies ever win the SEC.
Right.
I just don't think they've got the humor to me is I watch a guy like Mack Brown, a great gentleman. He'll always be a Longhorn to me. Mack Brown goes back to North Carolina. He's great. They go 10-2, whatever. It's those two people. It's those two that keep you just North Carolina. I try to talk to my Aggie friends rationally, and we've had Vince Young, we've had Colt McCoy, they had Kellen Mond. Woo, Kellen Mond. And now Kellen Mond is gone along with half of the offensive line. And my Aggie friends are like, no problem, man. We're just going to plug in a couple of 5-stars and roll on. Yeah, they're ranked 6th in the country. They will not finish that high this year. They won't.
Where's Texas ranked?
No, 25th, and they'll finish out of the ranking. I mean, who are we kidding? Texas is down. 20. Yeah, we have to be in the top 20 to sell the magazines. I'm not a homer. I'm objective. And people say, well, why do you say that? Well, let's just look at history. I mean, just look at it. Yeah, we got a great coach. I mean, okay. Patrick Stroud says, you're funny, Brent. You better get a coach. Patrick Stroud said, I never knew. I mean, I like you a ton. You've just exposed yourself as such an Aggie homer. I just don't get it. What are you looking at? What games are you watching?
That's part of being a fan.
But being a fan doesn't mean you have to just be oblivious to reality.
Yeah,
we're Cowboys fans. What are they going to go? 8 and 9? I'm a Texas fan. They might go 6-5. I don't know. They're down. They're certainly not going to contend for a championship.
You're not the fanatic in that fan equation.
No. I'm an objective, observant sports fan. You're correct. I guess that's why I have a radio show. I'm objective. I tell you the truth. I don't. Woohoo! Go Aggies! Gig 'em! Woo! We're gonna win it all this year again, like we were last year. Yeah. Okay.
He says, did I say anything about the Aggs?
No, but everything's maroon around. You come up on our screen maroon, but we love you. You know that. We really like Lori, but it's cool. Yeah, we really like Lori.
Do you want, Steve Kidder says Texans are going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, whoa, Texans. Whoa, J.J. Watt. Man, he's back. Deshaun Watson. If he can out-scramble those masseuses, he's going to be great.
You asked the other day where are the charges? I think there's about 10 pending.
Are they still pending?
Yeah.
10. Brother G's been trying. Brother G, I didn't teach him. I ain't got nothing to do with it.
The Iceman says time for the hockey minute.
Tell us.
NHL free agency starts today.
No, you expecting big moves in Calgary? What about the Rangers?
They traded for Pitlick the other day. I think he's an upgrade for the
Pitlick.
Yeah, a lot for the bottom 6 forwards.
Pitlick.
We still need a backup goalie. We need an upgrade on our. We need a winger who can score.
Where's he from? Grease Trap, Manitoba.
Yes.
Pitlick.
Tyler Pitlick.
How do you find these guys?
Scouts.
Clears the puck over to Pitlick. Wow.
Pitlick gets it over to donkey kick.
Right.
Jeffrey on to Lafleur. Gotta get the French. There's a couple French guys in there.
I will, Brother Gary. Take the microphone over here. Gary.
Have you been watching any? Did you watch any of that January 6th Inquisition yesterday? Did you?
The Inquisition.
I knew you're too busy to watch that stuff.
Inquisition. What a guess.
On TV.
Do you have any way? I want you just to picture in your mind and I think it would be a good thing. I mean, I've got 3 kids that went to A&M. I do not hate Texas A&M. Can you imagine if the Aggies won a national championship? Can you imagine?
Wow.
Do you know how big the numbers would be on the side of that stadium? It would take a crane. H.B. Zachary would have to go out and put 2022 on the side of that stadium. They would go Troy Johnson. They would go crazy.
If that happened, do A&M fans turn into Boston Red Sox fans more despised than Yankees fans if you keep it from baseball? Because, I mean, Yankees fans used to be the ones everybody hated, right? Because they were obnoxious. They won everything. Boston wins one World Series, and their fans leapfrog Yankee fans in their obnoxious behavior. And they're probably the most hated fans of baseball. I would hope not, but does that happen with A&M?
No, here's the difference.
And I hate to say it, if Washington State ever won the Pac-12, they don't even have to win a national championship. If Washington State won the Pac-12 in football, 80% of their fans would turn into those fans because we've been so down for so long.
So here's the difference. Red Sox fans, when the Red Sox won the championship, the Red Sox leapt over the Yankees. The difference is Aggies fans have leapt over the Longhorns without winning the championship. There's the difference. Here's all the ways.
But they haven't gotten to that point where they're not where they're hated like Red Sox fans are by everybody else in baseball.
Right?
This is just a question.
Those two. But let me tell you something. Aggies have another good year, though.
Oh, yeah. They should be good. The defense should be really good. Jimbo Fisher's a good coach. I do. When they're not playing Texas,
But is there anything better than? I mean, but this is what's great about sports.
Absolutely.
Love your team and your you know, and
the only team.
but if you didn't have a rivalry, you wouldn't have the love for your team like you do. Takes that.
Our biggest rival is still OU, and I'm excited, very excited to get the A&M series back. I can't wait for Texas to be in the same conference with LSU and South Carolina and the Aggies and Arkansas in baseball.
I don't think
we hate Arkansas more than anything.
I don't think it'll be 5 years. There are going to be a lot of negotiations.
2 years.
Less than 2025.
Yeah. Not after this year, we'll be playing over there.
I don't think after this year. I think it might be a little bit more because OU and Texas aren't going to want to pony up that $76 million that they're going to have to give as exit fees. So
yeah, they owe it either way, though. You know that.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. There'll be negotiations so that it won't be 76. It'll be less than that.
Oh, good luck, right?
I could see 76 maybe being the total that both schools end up paying, not 76 million each.
Right. Folks, we're going to get out of here. Stay tuned for more.